Welcome to Excel Business Math Series number 39. Hey, if you want to download this workbook and follow along, click on my YouTube channel and click on my college website link and you can download the workbook 135 Chapter 5. If you're in the class, just go to our Chapter 5 website. Hey, we got to talk about incentive rates. These are pay rates where you have an incentive to work harder. Our first one is we have 8 of them here. Lots of different ways to do structure pay contracts so that there's different types of incentives. Hey, the first one is determine gross earnings for piecework. So, for example, we have a number of boomerangs that you made, and here's the amount that you are paid. So because they're paying you per item, the more you can make per hour, the more you get paid. So this is pretty straightforward. You just say how many you made, or in this case, that's how many you made in one day, and here's how much you get paid for each one. Now we're multiplying decimals, and so our rule is going to be that we have to use the round. Now, remember, there's 3 things for the round. One of the things is we're going to use this in a subsequent calculation, but there is no subsequent calculation here, so technically you don't have to use it. But because we're getting in the habit, multiplying decimals or dividing decimals, and we're using money, we need to get it to the penny. So I'm going to use it here, equals round. And I'm going to say, oh, that's how many boomerangs we made, times 25 cents each, comma 2 for our to the penny, close parentheses. So the round function is doing our rounding for us. So 143.75. Let's go to our next sheet, IR2, incentive rate 2. Determine gross earnings for piecework. Oh, but in this case, we have some small lamps that we made, some shades, and some round lamps. And each one has a different rate. So for the small lamp, we get paid $1.01. For the shade, we get paid 28 cents. And for the round lamp, we get paid $1.28. So we could do these individually, or we could do them all together. Remember, 39 times $1.01 plus 112 times 28 cents plus 21 times $1.28. I'm going to do it all together here, equals round. And we take the first small lamps, that's the number, times how much we get paid. And then we simply do plus. Oh, yeah, and now we're on to our shades, right? So number of shades times the amount you get paid plus. Hey, now, wait a second. Look at what's happening here. This formatting is coming up here. How in the world am I going to get? I can get the 21. This is the round lamps. That's how many I made. Times. And now I'm getting, I can't really reach that one right there. You could type it in B7. You can see that it should be B7. So you could go like B7, and you can kind of see the orange hint right there, backspace, backspace. Or you could click right here, and once you see the dancing ants dancing around, then you could use your arrow key to get to it. All right, and so now there's our formula. Now remember, if you're doing this on a handheld calculator, it'd be the same thing. You'd enter it in this way and then hit the Enter key, right? We're just doing it in Excel, so we have to use the round because we want to officially round. So we put a comma, and it's asking for number of digits, 2. Close parentheses. Enter. And there it is, $96.97. All right, let's go on to IR3. Determine gross earnings for differential piecework. So the incentive structure is different. If we were making boomerangs, we made 375 boomerangs in one day. But look at this. For the first 1 to 100, we get paid 25 cents. 1 to 100, we get 25 cents. And then 101 to 200, we get what? 0.3125 of a dollar. That's 31.25 cents. So there's actual quarter cents. And in pay structures like this, there are partial pennies. However, when we do our multiplying with partial pennies, we're going to have to round. Down here, look at this. Above 501, we get paid $0.5625 or 56.25 cents. All right, so we're going to have to do a bunch of calculations here because we made 375. So I'm just going to put total boomerangs here. Actually, let me see if I can zoom this in just a little bit. Not much. All right, so I'm going to put my total here, 375. And then for the first batch, I want to figure out how many. What is the maximum amount I get paid? What's the maximum number made for the first range of values? Well, we just look here. 1 up to 100 is 25 cents. So the number that we want here is 100. 100. So guess what? I'm going to go equals and click on that right there. Now, why am I going up there instead of just typing it? Because when we get down to here, we're actually going to have to do a formula based on these values up here. But there it is. I'm going to hit tab, and I'm going to look. Is this 100 greater than that? If it was, we'd stop right here and just take whatever it was there times the 25 cents. But it's not. This 100 is way less than 375. So I can keep that 100 there. And now the rate, I'm going to get it from right there. I don't want to type these rates in because I might have an error. Tab. And now, what is the formula we're going to use? Oh, for this first batch of boomerangs we made 100, it's 100 times 25 cents. So we say equals round. And we have our 100 times our rate, comma 2, close parentheses. Now I'm going to blow this up just a little bit. So there we go. We can see we have our formula there, and then I'm going to hit enter. So we did it for that first 100 boomerangs made. Now we got to figure out how many are remaining. So I'm going to say equals and get my 375. That's the total minus the amount I've already calculated the pay for. So minus 100. How many are left? 275. Now we got to figure out how many are in this next batch right here. So we say equals this upper limit minus the upper limit from the group before. That means the 100 that we've already made. So we're taking the upper limit from here and subtracting it from there. Now, you know, this is a complicated little spreadsheet here with a bunch of formulas. But if you were doing this on a piece of paper, you'd be doing all of these same calculations on a handheld calculator. All right, so we say 200 minus 100. There's 100. Okay, I'm looking here. Is that less than that? Yes, it is. So we get paid for all 100 from this line right here. I'm going to go get the rate right there. Tab, and our formula is going to be the same thing as before, round. And we're going to say 100, number of boomerangs made, times our rate for this particular batch, comma 2, because we're going to the penny. Now, if you understand relative cell references, this formula is the same formula we used up here, right? So actually, next time, when we get down here, we'll see if we can just copy that formula and put it down there. Now, our goal is to calculate the remaining. So I say equals 275 minus the 100 we just got paid for. Oh, 175. Now we calculate the number in the boomerangs in the third batch here equals this upper limit here minus whatever the upper limit from the previous bracket is. Right? Oh, so still 100. Right? And I'm looking here 100. That's less than 175, so we get paid for all 100. Equals, and I'm going to go get that one right there. Tab. Now, I'm going to put this in edit mode. That formula right there will work here because it's multiplying 2 cells to my left times 1 cell to my left. Control C, and then Control V. I copied, and now I'm going to paste. Either right-click paste or Control V. And just for kicks, since we're still learning Excel here, I'm going to put it into edit mode with the F2 key. And look, whoa, it got it right. It got that 100 and that rate there. Now I'm going to hit enter. We need to calculate this, the amount remaining. So equals the total that we have left minus the amount we were just paid for. Okay, 75. And then I come down here and I want to find for the fourth, this batch right here, how many can I possibly get paid for? Equals the upper limit from that one minus the upper limit from the one before. Tab. And now I look here. Is this 100 greater than that? Yes, it is. I do not get paid for all 100, so I'm just going to delete that formula. And the formula is equals That's 75 right there. So this is the last time we have to do a calculation because there's only 75 remaining. But we do get paid at this higher rate right here. And then I'm going to copy this formula right here and paste it. So I copied, and I'm going to paste right there. Now, I've calculated each one of these using the round because we were multiplying decimals. Now, we come down to the total. Do we have to round? No way. These are all rounded. If everything's rounded perfectly when you add, you don't have to round. So I'm going to equals. And you can do this two ways. You can say equals. Now, I can't get that cell reference right there. So I can do a couple things. I could type it in E19, but you better be careful when you do that you get the right one. Or you could click right here and use your right arrow, E19. Then I'm going to say plus that one, plus that one, plus that one. Now, that formula will work because we don't, there's a bunch of ranges in between, so we cannot do a sum function where it says E19 colon E13. That formula will work. Or you could do this one. Watch this one. Equals SUM, the open parentheses. And I need to get that one right there, so I'm going to click there and right arrow. And then I could type a comma and then click here, comma, and click here. Notice the screen tip right here reminds you that to get another number, you put a comma. So I'm going to put a comma and get number 4. So you could do it that way also. So 56 is the total for all the boomerangs we made this day. So that is gross earnings for differential piecework. Now let's go on to our next one, IR4, incentive rates. By the way, what's the incentive here, right? Why are they paying you more as you go forward? They're hoping that you'll make. So this is the bait they give you to make more and more in one day, to get faster, to get better at making this particular product. All right, let's go to IR4. Determine gross earnings for piecework with a guaranteed hourly wage. This is to satisfy minimum wage laws. The idea here is going to be you are going to make $8.40 an hour unless you can make more at this piecework rate. So the way we'll do it is we actually have to calculate the hourly wage for each day and the piecework pay for each day, and then take the maximum of the two. So for this first day, Monday, we'll have to take the maximum of the hourly wage or this one. All right, so this column here is pretty easy. We're going to say equals, the $8.40 per hour, and I'm going to hit my F4 key to lock this, times, and I'm going to go get my 8 hours because it's the same each day. And I'm going to have to hit my F4 key. Notice we're allowed to create this formula, just one, and copy it down, and it will give us the hourly wage for every single day. Control Enter, and I'm going to click and drag it down. All right, so the hourly wage is $67.20 for each day. Now we want to come over here and calculate the piecework rate, right? Because we made boomerangs 240 on this day, 175 here, 176, 309 way down here. So we come here, equals round. We're multiplying decimals. We're required to round, and we're going to use it in a subsequent calculation. Here is the number of boomerangs times our rate per boomerang that we get paid. Now watch that. That B4 right there needs to be locked, so you have to hit the F4 key. Comma 2, because we're going to the penny, close parentheses. Now I'm going to Control Enter, and I'm going to click and drag it down. Now we have to go through manually, right? And look, is that one bigger than this one? No, this is the biggest, so I go equals this. Then I come down here and I say, is this one bigger or this? Oh, that one's bigger, so I say equals that. Then I come down here and I say, which one's bigger? Equals that one. Then I come here and I say, which one's bigger? Equals that one, right? And then I come here and I say, equals, which one's bigger? Equals that one. Now, what's the problem with what I just did? Right? If you're doing a lot of employees and you're trying to do this, you could get an error. Now, luckily, Excel is logical. It does true, false, can answer questions like, hey, which one is the biggest? So I'm going to It's fine if on the test you do it this way and do it by hand. But there's a built-in function called max. And as is usual, I have notes for when we use a function. There's a note on the max here. The maximum function will automatically look between these two values and pick the biggest one. So let's use it. I'm going to actually zoom this up. And here it is, equals, and the function's name is max. Max. Now, you can read here, if you have 2007, it says return the largest value in a set of values, ignores logical values in text. Well, we have only values, so that'll work fine. Now, if you didn't know the name of the function, what would you do? You'd click right here, and you type something like biggest value, and then hit enter and see what comes up with. Value, and you read it converts text string. No, that's not it. Returns the largest number in a field column in a database. No, that's not it. Returns the largest value in a set of, well, that sounds good, but does not ignore logical values or text. That doesn't sound right. Come to this one. Returns the largest value in a set of values. Ignores logical values. Logical values are like true, false, and text are like words. Well, we don't have any words. So this is the one. And then you could use your function argument dialog box to highlight the range. I'm going to click escape. This is kind of like sum. It's pretty common, so I'm going to type equals max. If you're in 2007, you have this drop down. You can hit tab. And then you just highlight two cells to my left. So this is and a close parentheses. This is a formula with relative cell references that will always look two cells to my left. Control Enter. And then I'm going to copy this formula down. And notice it got it right. And in particular, this one, it didn't make the mistake I did, because it's looking two cells to the left, and it got the right one. Now, we come here, and that's the idea. On these 2 days, we didn't make enough boomerangs to exceed what we would have been paid getting our 8 hours at our wage. So that's why on these 2 days, we select this value. Once we get the maximum for all of these, we say, we got to add them up. I'll use my keyboard shortcut, Alt equals. It guessed right. It got the 5 values above, and then hit Enter. So the total for the week is 401.40. All right, let's go over to IR5. Here we're going to determine gross earnings for overtime earnings for piecework. The piecework rate will be multiplied by the overtime rate for the items that are being made during the overtime. So we did overtime in the last video. Here it's just applied to piecework. So for example, we have amount paid per bicycle is $12.73. Bicycles made on the regular time during the week. There it is. Oh, but bicycles, the number of bicycles made on overtime during the week, 12 of them. So we're actually going to have two calculations. We have to calculate the piecework pay 80 at regular and 12 at the overtime rate. Now, the overtime rate for this business is 1.5. It could be anything that the contract says. Probably it's 1.5 unless you're working at Boeing or Safeway or something like that. All right, let's do our regular pay. We're multiplying decimals, so I'm going to use round. And the other two criteria also were money, we're required to round, and we're going to use it in a subsequent calculation. So number, that's just, hey, we made 80 times our rate per bicycle, comma 2, close parentheses. And our calculation for overtime piecework, hey, we got a number here, but we have 3 things to multiply. The number of bicycles times the 1.5 times the actual pay per bicycle. Now, I did it in that order. Is it all right to do it in this order? This rate times the 1.5 times the 12? Yes, multiplication is commutative. You can do it in any order. 1 times 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2 times 1, comma 2, close parentheses. Both of these calculations, multiplying, have been rounded. So when you get to the add, you don't have to round. You just add. I'm going to Alt equals. It gets it totally wrong. It doesn't matter. And I'm going to click Escape. If you come up to your Sum button, in earlier versions, the Sum button's on the toolbar. If you click that, it totally gets it wrong also. You got to be careful with this. If it gets it wrong, no problem. Just take your cursor and click and drag. and then hit enter. Ding, ding, ding. Our weekly gross is going to be 1247.54. All right, let's go on to IR6. More fun with incentive rates. Here's our, for this one, we have gross earnings are fixed salary for period, whatever that is. So some fixed amount per pay period plus amount earned on commission. Oh, we're going to talk about commission. Here's how commission works. We have the first employee, and the salary is $514 for the period. But there's an incentive that they give you. They say, hey, we'll also pay you, in addition to this fixed amount, 3.75% times the sales. The incentive here is the more sales you have, the greater your commission will be. So ultimately, our gross pay is going to be whatever the fixed salary is, that's no matter what, plus the commissions. So the incentive is sell more, right? Because you have the power on the commission part of your pay to make more by selling more. All right, let's do our calculation. It's simply going to be whatever the sales times the commission. Now, we've seen this before. And let me scroll up here. I have some notes here. Right here, commission equals rate times base. Oh yeah, that's from chapter 3, which in our case is going to be percent commission times sales. So this is the base, this is the rate. And our part, since we're going to get only part of this, 3.75 of this, as our pay. All right, so you ready? Let's see if we can do this. Our formula is going to be, do we have to use round? You bet. We're multiplying decimals. It's money, and we're going to use a subsequent calculation. Equals round. It doesn't matter which order we do this in. We're multiplying, comma, to close parentheses. So there's our formula right there. And then we hit enter, or control enter, to put the formula in the cell and keep the cell highlighted. And then we can copy this down. Notice there's something all the way to the left, right? So we have a trick. Instead of pointing to our fill handle with our little crosshair or angry rabbit and clicking and dragging, we can simply double click. Notice we were allowed to do that. We didn't have a total here because that would wreck the total if we did that. But there's something to the left, so we can just double click and send it down. Now, we've done that, and this calculation is rounded. So we can scroll over here and simply add. We have two already rounded numbers. So Alt equals, it guesses totally wrong, but no problem. We can click and drag to highlight correctly. That's add two cells to my left. Control Enter, and then double click and send it down. I'm going to come down here and double check both of these. F2 to put it in edit mode. That got it right. And I'm going to check here, F2. And sure enough, it got it right. That is commissions. But notice we had each person had a different contract with a different commission rate. Let's look at a different example for commission. I'm going to go to IR7. This is similar to our Piecework, where we had different pay rates for different number of units. So for here, we're still going to be calculating commissions for a person. But look at this. Up to $10,000, you are paid 5%. If you go from 10,001 cent up to 20,000, you are paid 6.25%. In fact, I'm going to add some formatting here. Control 1 is the keyboard shortcut for format cells. I'm going to add currency under the number tab, format cells. So the next bin or batch is from 10,001 cent up to 20,000, you get 6.25. From 20,001 penny up to 30,000, you get 7.5%. So here's our example. If your sales for the month are $28,500.25, and the variable commission rate is listed in the table above, what is your commission paid for the month? And the incentive here, obviously, is they're going to give you higher rates to be like a carrot. It's going to be like a carrot to hopefully entice you to sell more. We're going to have a table similar to the one we did for our piece rate just a moment ago. Let's start off by typing in this number right here. That'll be our sales, our starting amount. So 28,500.25. Enter. Now, the amount for our commissions. Well, it's the same thing. We got to figure out if the amount in this first batch or bin or row here exceeds that amount. So I'm going to come here, and for the first one, we just say equals and click on, actually, let me zoom. All right, that's not much, but there's a little bit of zoom. Amount for commission. We're going to say equals and get the upper limit for the first bin or batch or row. Tab, and then the commission rate is going to be the same thing for that. Now, do 10,000 right here, is that less than this? Yes, it is. So we get the whole 10,000. So our calculation here is going to be equals round. And then, of course, in any order you want, multiplying that one times this one, comma 2, close parentheses. So we're rounding that because we're multiplying decimals. Now, we have to calculate whatever our original amount minus what we just got paid for. So we'll say equals our total amount from right above minus the amount we were just paid for. Enter. Now we got to do the same thing here as we did earlier. This one, we have to determine all of the amount that comes from this second row or batch. So I'm going to say equals the upper limit for this minus the lower limit from the earlier one. So that is 10,000. And 10,000 is less than this. This number is still bigger than this. So we get all of this 10,000. We'll get our rate, 6.25. And we'll do our round equals round. That one times that one. Notice I did it in a different order here. Multiplication is commutative, so no problem. Comma 2, close parentheses. Now we do the same calculation here. Equals the amount from right above minus what we just got paid for. 8,500. Now I'm going to do my calculation here just blindly, right? Because I can probably guess right now that these are all 10,000 bins. But just in case they were numbers that were hard to recognize by just looking, I'm going to take the upper limit of this minus the upper limit from the earlier one, 10,000. Ding, ding, ding. Whoops. This number is bigger than that. So we cannot get paid for all that 10,000. So this formula is going to be simply that one there. That's the remaining amount. That's it. Equals whatever the rate is for that. That's the 7.5% for that third bin tab. And I'm going to copy this formula just like we did just a moment ago. Copy and paste it here because it's the same formula. 2 to my left times. Now we can add alt equals. And just a moment ago, we did when we did this similar problem, we used commas here. Let me do that again. Equals SUM open parentheses. I'm going to click here, comma here, comma here. It's perfectly all right to do plus, plus, plus here. Because you can't just highlight all these. Or you could. It would add zeros there. But I try to avoid that because if you accidentally put something there, it would add in, and we don't want that. So we're trying to be clear with our formula. We're only adding that one, and that one. Enter. So there it is, 1,062.52. Now we have one more incentive rate to look at. Over here, determine gross earnings for salary plus commission. So here's our problem. If your monthly salary is $8,000 and you are paid 3/4%. Remember from our percent and chapter we talked a lot about this, 3/4% commission rate on sales, and your sales for the month are $69,043.75. What is your gross pay for the month? Use word application problems. Now, every couple problems, I try to do it this way because our test, all of our tests are basically going to be word problems where you have to set everything up just like this. Why do we always do this? Because this is clear thinking. This is how you solve simple to somewhat complex to very complex business problems. All right, our monthly salary, what is it? Oh, it's $8,000, so I just typed that there. Our commission rate. Now, we learned this trick from a couple chapters ago. How do we do this? Remember, we have to do this division and then slide the decimal, or do the division, slide the decimal, add the percent sign. So the trick we learned is just to simply, since any number you're given as a percent, to have the actual number, we divide by 100. So here was our trick. Equals 3 divided by 4, right? That'll give us a number. If we control enter, it gives us 0.75. But we need that 0.75 divided by 100. So we can just as we did 2 chapters ago, divide this by 100. And that is a cool trick to get whatever this 3/4% is, the actual number equivalent. That is the number equivalent, 0.0075. Now, we apply our percentage format. Oh, but that won't work. Let's try it. Control 1. Let's try our percentage. We can see our sample here, 0.75%, but we know that's not what we want. We saw how to do this a couple of chapters ago. We actually have to come down here, and you have to do custom number formatting. Question mark is the numerator. Slash says that this is going to be fraction format. Question mark gives us a denominator. And then I'm going to do space percent. That is our custom number format for fractional percentages. And then click OK. If you got stuck on a test, what would you do? You would go and open up your workbook where we talked about that in Chapter 3 and look at our examples. In each workbook, I always have notes. So in that workbook, I actually wrote out notes for the custom number format. Monthly sales. Oh, that's this right here. So we type it in, 69043.75. Enter. And our goal, if I only knew how to spell, goal, it says it right here. What is your gross pay for the month? So find gross pay. All right, so now we get to do some calculating. And I'm listing my formula here. Commission paid times commission paid equals commission rate times monthly sales. And we have to use round. So we do round. The round, hey, we can do it in any order, either this one times this one or the reverse. I'm going to select that one times that one. So that is those are our monthly sales times our commission rate, comma 2, close parentheses. Monthly sales. Oh, we already wrote that, so I'm just going to equals that. And now what do? Add them up. Alt equals, did it guess right? It did. And be sure to write it in answers. This one's real easy. I mean, in words. This one's real easy. The gross pay is that amount there. All right, when we come back, we have another exciting topic in this payroll chapter. See you then.